next segment, we like to look at all the first issues that we read and decide, one, if they're accessible for new readers, and two, if we're going to continue with the series. First up, we have 4001 AD from Valiant. It is the story of New Japan and their fight against their god, the Father, with Rai as their savior. I will say that this book has the best computer or digital art that I've ever seen. There are a couple big two-page spreads that really show this battle that commences in the first issue really well. This epic battle is well established, and it is a good blend of futurism and religious fervor, and I thought it was really good first issue. I know you guys didn't have a chance to check it out, but it has a slight degree of entry. I feel like knowing the Valiant characters would be helpful, but I'm really interested in issue 2, so yeah, I'm going to keep reading.
Next up, we've got Future Quest #1, Hanna-Barbera Super Team Up Crossover Madness. This book is on DC, and it's exactly what I just said. It's Johnny Quest, Haji. Doesn't sound right saying that. Dr. Quest. It doesn't. It just feels wrong. We got Space Ghost, Birdman.
Scooby-Doo?
No Scooby-Doo, because they're in their own thing that we
Right.
are not going to talk about because it sounded really bad. This book is accessible, but helping, like, again, knowing the universe that they're talking about is kind of important. I don't know who Birdman's real identity is. I don't know really what the deal with Space Ghost is, besides he was a funny talk show host late night. Yeah, I'm probably not going to keep reading this, but that being said, it was kind of fun and nostalgic. The art looks just like the cartoons, only better. It's like an update, but they don't change much.
They don't have to deal with the motions.
And then, of course, everybody's favorite colorist, Jordi Belair, just nailed it. Everything is just on point in this book. Nice. But it's not my cup of tea.
For a team up book, I thought it was really restrained and introducing characters, which I really enjoyed. You get majority of the book with just the Johnny Quest characters dealing with some anomaly, and I really liked that. You get a glimpse of Space Ghost at the end, but I imagine many more characters will be involved later on. I really enjoyed it. I will be reading the second issue.
Next up is 1%. The 1%, I'm sorry. After escaping poverty, Renato Jones becomes a vigilante whose focus is making the super rich pay. It's like a Bernie Sanders fever dream. Totally accessible. It's pretty cool. It's like, Punisher against the rich, kind of, but with flair.
Yeah.
The art is awesome. This is all one guy doing the art, the color, and the writing. Carr.
And he loves telling you about it.
Yeah, and he is just pretty much obliterating the 1%ers and making them look bad.
Okay. I did like the art. Yeah. I thought he did some really interesting panel work, and there's some really cool splash pages that I appreciated. I would probably not keep reading this. It was a little ham-fisted, over the top, and I know it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it's like the bad guy just keeps getting worse. It's like, I'm not surprised you have a sex dungeon on your fucking on your leisure yacht.
All recorded.
And it's like all recording you murdering illegal immigrants, and it's just like, what? I don't know. Wasn't for me.
It's the worst of the 1%.
It's like the worst of every 1%er combined.
Yeah.
We've gotten the entire backstory, seems like.
It seems like it.
So
I will say I do like the machete on the end of his pistol.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I think I'll get the second issue, see where it goes, and then...
Next up we have Punisher from Marvel, written by Becky Cloonan. Frank is back and pissed as ever in the first Punisher comic written by a woman. Is it accessible? I think so. I don't know much about Punisher except that he's pissed.
He's so pissed. His family's dead. I mean...
will I keep reading? I don't think so. I felt like this issue was really bad, really flat, and there's one line of dialogue, one exchange that I think me and Nick have to do a dramatic reading of that just epitomizes how bad this book is written. Sorry, Becky.
Sorry, Becky. That's another thing is I'm usually...
We really like Becky Cloonan.
We like Becky Cloonan, and I was excited about a woman writing this. Maybe like a feminine touch is what Frank Castle needed to stop being a murdering savage that lives in New York.
Let me just paint the picture real quick. We have the aftermath of a Punisher Frank Castle beatdown of this drug peddling group, and then we have some DEA agents coming in, and I'll start. Looks like somebody didn't give a fuck about due process.
Stuff it, Henderson!
And there you have it.
And by beatdown, we mean full-blown multiple homicide. I think, like, it's really getting hard to get behind Punisher because he's just a murdering sociopath, right? Nighthawk from Marvel. Chicago's crime scene just got a lot more brutal as Nighthawk tries to clean up the Windy City. This is by one of my favorite authors right now, David F. Walker. He's doing Shaft and Power Man and Iron Fist, which everybody here kind of agrees that it's
really
kind of the best. Is it accessible? Yeah. I wish I would have known a little bit more about Nighthawk. He's on Squadron Supreme, something that I'm not terribly familiar with. I dug it. Really brutal for Marvel. Like, it's gritty, bloody, and Nighthawk is this humorless, just unforgiving entity that is trying to just clean up Chicago. Wow, he sounds a lot like Punisher when I talk about him like that.
He's a little bit more involved in the community, though.
Yeah.
He's like an actual job outside of being Nighthawk, which that's the part of the comic I really enjoyed, was that he has interactions with some investors who want to like redevelop a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads him to his actions after that, which is much more well-rounded than Frank Castle.
Civil War II, number 0.
Could, like, Joe any kid, like a 12-year-old kid, walk into the comic shop and pick up Civil War II, number 0, and know what the hell is going on if they don't read that many
it's
comic
not very
books?
approachable unless you've read all of Pleasant Hill and...
I think it's just if you know the
I don't know.
characters.
Yeah.
you could probably...
I don't think you need to have read
Stumble
Pleasant Hill
along.
or even any previous Marvel stuff. If you know the characters involved, so that's a requirement, a hurdle to get over. But it's a bunch of... my biggest problem with it is it's really static. It's like a bunch of interactions between two characters, like conversations.
Yeah.
It's a conversation book. It's just this character talking to this character.
All well done, though.
Yeah. Brian Michael Bendis, he knows how to write a conversation.
He's killing it.
My favorite part of the book, though, was when She-Hulk jumps up to a helicarrier. That was pretty sweet.
By far the best part of the book. I also liked when they're walking through the Punisher's crime scene and she yells, "Shove it, Henderson!" Just kidding, that was in Punisher still.
Brutal Nature, number 1 from IDW. This is about natives of Central America go all animorphs on the conquistadors.
That sounds awesome.
We don't even have to waste too much time on this.
No.
This was miserable. It legitimately takes the crown for worst comic I've ever read.
Dang.
I'm not kidding. The art is like...
Did you read Punisher?
I did, and this is worse.
Oh,
the art looks like it's from a mid-2000s PC game. It's really bad. Really, really bad.
Wow.
The dialogue is terrible.
Yeah. Seth was appreciating the 4001 AD digital art. This is the other side of that miserable coin, and it looks rough.
It looks really bad.
Do you like your comics to have like the backdrop that Doom, or Dune even had? No, you don't.
It's not good.
It's like the development team from
I feel
Quake.
like the idea had some gold to mine from it, but it's just not well done. The dialogue, and that is another thing that really sinks it. I think we'll just move on.
Yep.
Just a bad, avoid at all cost.
For the most controversial first issue of May 2016, we've got Captain America, Steve Rogers, number 1. Spoiler alert! Just putting it out there. Steve is young, willing, and evil? Plus, laser shield! This is from Nick Spencer. He was writing Captain America before, and he's also writing Captain America Sam Wilson. And now he's back to younger Steve Rogers Cap. Much like Civil War II, I feel that like any like kid that just saw Captain America Civil War and is all jacked up on Cap juice if they bought that, a lot of it would go over their head, as would Civil War 2.
And then you have a bunch of characters that I haven't even heard of.
No.
Yeah. Well,
So,
old school.
yeah,
They're
really
old
old
school.
school.
Which ties into Steve Rogers' history.
You heard of Jack Flag? Is that his name?
I mean, I have, but
Oh my god.
glimpses.
So, this is
Let's talk the twist. Let's talk
Yeah,
about the
I mean, at the end of this book, he says Hail Hydra, and basically takes over an enemy ship for, theoretically, evil doing.
Right.
This, like, really, it is kind of funny. It came out the same day as DC Rebirth, where Superman has died. They're rebooting the entire universe, but all anyone could fucking talk about was how Cap says Hail Hydra at the end of this book. And a lot of people are pissed.
Got some media, didn't it?
Yeah. What'd you guys think?
I kind of liked it just from the fact that honestly the issue in total was hit or miss for me. I thought it was really stop and start with the backstory. They're like the stuff from his childhood. That was just really. It really like slowed down the pace of the book.
And it was so long and drawn out.
They had like a backstory for like a suicide bomber earlier that was really like trite and stupid.
Yeah.
Really flat. It had no like emotional effect to it. Some of the action was okay, passable, I would say.
Yeah.
But overall, the issue I think was not great. The reveal, though, I think is interesting just for the simple fact that like, if people are pissed about it, why they need to remember that like, this is not like a change of the character. It hasn't revealed. Nothing's been revealed as to how he came to this point. It could easily be someone just brainwashing him, or like, you know, the Cubex situation like fucked with him or something. So I think it's like a wait and see more than anything.
It almost has to be that because
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not, they're not going to
how could all
turn
this
Steve Rogers into a Hydra.
Have been an ultimate plan.
So like when people are outraged about it, it's kind of stupid because it's just like a character dying and you're expecting it to come back.
Also, it's a comic book, and they do this stuff all the time, where all of a sudden, like, Spider-Man is possessed by the ghost of Dr. Octopus, or Steve Rogers becomes nomad and lives on an intergalactic plane for no reason. That happened.
Yeah.
So this Hydra thing is kind of small scale.
I'm sure in a couple of issues that will be resolved, certainly.
I bet all of Cap's friends come together and save him from himself.
He needs it. He really needs it.
He needs it. He's going down a dark path.
Also, Steve Rogers as a character in this book sucked. He was boring.
He was super boring.
So boring.
It was like they played up the fact that he was like old-timey, but he's like young, and as I said before, he goes to the same barber as the Punisher now, so his hair looks really shitty in this book. His haircut just looks so bad. Why don't they just look at Chris Evans' haircut and fucking draw that?
We're really shitting on Punisher, but it deserves it.
Punisher was so bad.